Hey, passengers, a quick housekeeping note before today's episode. We had a small audio gaffe that required us to cut short and condense our interview with today's guest. Special thanks to Carl Tart for joining us in studio to talk about FX's Clipped and all things Los Angeles Clippers basketball. If you're looking for more of Carl, you can check him out at Dynasty Typewriter in Los Angeles on January 9th, and be sure to subscribe to his podcasts, Hollywood Handbook, and XoXo Bada Bing's A Sopranos Rewatch. And with that, sit back and enjoy the rest of today's episode.
Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License with service to Lob City and the Staples Center. We ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember that when it comes to flying, you could easily take Delta. Hey, you could even take United, but we appreciate you listening to the TV Pilot's License, the Clippers of the TV Rewatch podcast.
Welcome to the TV Pilot's License. My name is Jeff Curtis, joined by Rich Inman and Max Singer. And boys, we are live in LA to record something very special.
Yeah, Jeff got rerouted from Lob City and had to land at Burbank.
Jeff, I am so excited about today's episode. I wrote an entire series about the Knicks NBA Cup Championship run. Skylar Gisondo just signed on to play Tyler Kolek. I couldn't be more excited.
Well, gentlemen, this week we are all together. And we're in LA to talk about LA's favorite basketball team.
That's right.
The Clippers and the TV show Clipped. But before we begin, I thought we could change the culture of the podcast and bring in someone from the East Coast, from an award-winning franchise, to give us some expertise, maybe some perspective of the self-described lifelong Clippers fan. Our guest this week is a writer on Saturday Night Live. You can hear him on both the Hollywood Handbook and Friends, as well as XoXo Gossip Kings podcast. He has been named a comic you should know by Vulture and won the 2011 Slam Dunk contest by jumping over the hood of a Kia Optima. Please welcome Carl Tart.
Thank you. Their last one was the most important.
Real ball knowers will remember 2011 when Carl jumped over that Kia Sorento.
Oh my gosh,
You got to be a real ball nut.
Carl, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, man. Have me. Sorry, my voice is jacked up. I've been doing a lot of shows and podcasting.
Yeah, that's right. You did a show last night at UCV, right? Oh my God, back to back.
Yeah, man.
Damn, how was it?
It was great. It's fun to be home.
I love that.
Absolutely love that. Well, Carl, when we had initially reached out to you about coming on the podcast, you said you had been avoiding the show Clipped, which I think is fair. But I'd love to hear a little bit more from you about like what life has been choosing to choose not the Lakers, but be a Clippers fan.
You know what it has been, the reason why I was avoiding this show is I am fascinated by things I hate.
Sure.
And so I do a lot of research on them. The thing right now, you mentioned I'm from the East Coast. I'm not from the East Coast. Well, I'm from the South.
Well, you're from the South, but you're living in the East Coast right now.
I'm living in the East Coast, and I hate the train. And on the way here, I sent a video to a friend of mine in New York who I met there, and we argue constantly about the merits of the subway. And I go, the subway is stupid. Like, I get that it's a necessary evil in this city, the way this city's infrastructure really built, which is people say it's the perfect. Now I'm thinking back to like the days I'm playing SimCity, and I'm like, they designed this shit off of New York.
Oh yeah,
but New York is dumb. Why is it? There's every street is a one-way street. If you miss a turn or you get blocked, you have to like go
another 20 minutes.
I'm like, come on, man, like. And then everybody's talking about the subway system, and I it's not dumb to me because I know people every day. You gotta stick up their ass about that. Can't say nothing about New York. But I told her, I was like, I left my house in North Hollywood at 12:46. And I arrived outside at 12:58.
Which, impossible in New York. Yeah, were to tell us that you were going like 14 miles fast. You'd be like, oh yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
You're at 9.2 miles.
Yep.
From my door. Also, when I'm leaving my garage, the trash truck is there, so I gotta wait. I got in the car at 12:40.
Yeah,
right. The trash truck is in there, so that's making me lose some time. I made 2 videos today. Here's the time. Note the time. I'm going 9.2 miles. Let's see how long it takes me to get 11 minutes
in traffic.
With every obstacle the city of Los Angeles could throw at you.
It's raining outside. It doesn't rain here.
Now, It is nearly impossible to drive here when it rains. I mean, you're obviously from here. Like, is there just like a level of panic that sets in for everybody?
But I'm like, you got to be way more vigilant. Right. I can't drive the normal 30 miles over the speed limit I normally do.
I also love that we all came from North Hollywood and we ended up in Silver Lake. Didn't discuss that at all.
Well, I know that we're really excited to dive into a little bit more about this FX series, but for folks who are frequent flyers of the podcast, maybe they are here for the first time to hear Carl. Max, what is this podcast all about?
Here at TV Pilot's License, we break down and analyze the pilot episodes of some of TV's most famous, or in some cases, infamous shows. We learn more about how these shows came to be and were originally made, if they're effective pilots and making us want to watch more, and if they can be made today. Go back and stream our old episodes from wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok to see our smiling faces and Carl jumping over a 2011 Kia. And if it is your first time flying with us, then welcome aboard.
And Rich, you normally come with something a little bit special, a question of the week. What is your question of the week?
That's right. So obviously almost every single, or so many sports franchises have had horrible, like, scandals of this nature. I mean, the Commanders and changing their names, Guardians changing their names. Like, it is, it seems like a lot of people are not safe in this. I want to let's elevate it a little bit. Let's be a little bit nicer. Is there a more fun scandal that you guys can remember from your own fan franchises that feels like that you can remember that, like, I don't know. What's a more fun thing to talk about that you hate from about your own fandom?
I can't wait to start. Well, gentlemen, as our podcast viewers know, and Carl, you might not know, I'm a gigantic Philadelphia Eagles fan. Yeah, I get it. I get the reaction. That is, one of two reactions. Some is why, and then the other is gross. But I clearly and distinctly remember a time in the early 2000s when Terrell Owens was working out shirtless in front of his house.
His driveway.
Yeah, in his driveway, telling folks why he was better than the Eagles and why the Eagles need to pay him, and also Donovan McNabb was a fat slob.
Wow.
Now, I'm not here to protest any of those things, but I do remember just thinking, what if you just enjoyed the millions of dollars that you were making in that moment and didn't make it about yourself? But that being said, with perspective, low-key, the funniest thing that could have, funniest way to protest. Yeah,
I like that team a lot. Fandom, I was a kid when that team was popping.
Yeah.
And I love T.O. T.O.'s one of my favorite players, and Donovan McNabb was great. I used to play with them on Madden 2005.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, 05.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Fandom really got the shittiest to me once social media started.
Oh, 100%.
You got to see what these fan bases were really about. Because back then you only heard about it. Oh, they throw batteries at Santa Claus. Yeah, I don't really care. I'm not there.
That was one time.
No, you get to hear an Eagles fan like from Philadelphia talking to you, and you're like, oh yeah, you are the worst person I've ever met.
Yes.
I all fell into weird urban legends until like Twitter and Instagram and TikTok really blew up.
I remember the worst part of coming home from White Sox games was listening to ESPN 1000 and all the call-in shows afterwards. And now sports fandom is just call-in shows.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It is truly awful. That I would beg my dad to turn it off.
Pearl, I'm curious, do you have, we're going to talk about the Clippers and Donald Sterling a lot. Is there another sports moment sort of in your mind that you're like, that would actually sort of be interesting or keeps me up at night?
I was going to answer this question. As soon as you asked it, I was like, oh, yeah, I got the perfect one. I'm a Saints fan since birth.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So Bounty Gate.
Oh, jeez.
Like, we had already been the lowly team. I love the underdog.
Sure.
The Saints is the reason why I am a fan of the underdog. Why I don't pick the front runner.
Yeah.
Except for the Dodgers. That's the first front running team I ready for. And it feels
someone got to give you a championship pie.
Yeah. And the Saints did in 2009. Yeah, they tried to take it all away, talking about we hit too hard. Come on, man.
So appropriate feedback from the Bounty Gate was not, you did not want a Kevin James movie that depicted.
That is not want a Kevin James movie. I another thing that I avoided, like clips.
Wait. There was a Kevin James movie about Bounty Gate?
If we were a movie podcast, then yes, we would be talking.
Yeah, it was a Netflix original about him being suspended for a whole year and coaching his son's Pop Warner football team,
which is
Kevin James
based slightly on real life, and it's a Kevin James movie.
I don't like Sean Payton, by the way. defending them.
I think that is a very fair sentiment. He seems like an interesting dude.
He's actually our guest after this, so we'll create some.
Just let him know right now. Max, you're wearing a New York Knicks hat, but I'm curious if you have a non-Knicks story or maybe
Imagine as we had Sean Payton come to do King of Queens next. I'm just going to say that everything that James Dolan has done out of pure ego and spite for the New York Knicks, whether it's banning Charles Oakley, a legend from the Garden, whether it's using facial recognition technology to kick out fans who worked for law firms that were representing cases against James Dolan, or just using the theater at Madison Square Garden as a personal concert venue for his band JD and the Straight Shot. What I need to do is find a contact of Rolling Stone to give one of those 5-star instant classic reviews to a JD and the Straight Shot album.
Okay.
So he could just focus on his real passion of classic rock and let someone else actually own this franchise so we have a shot.
That was world record holding James Dolan for you for the most kazoos played at the same time at one of his concerts before Billy Joel.
Yeah, that's the Straight Shot, baby. You're going to hear 10,000 kazoos in the Madison Square Garden Theater.
Oh, we got to talk about James Dolan.
Yeah,
like the NBA ownership as a whole. Because this scandal that we're going through right now was the first big scandal in Clippers history, but we have one this year as well.
Yeah.
And it's when I look over, I watched the Pablo Torre stuff. I watched all this for everybody who doesn't know and doesn't care. You're about to care. There was some perceived salary cap skirting with Kawhi and this company that scammed our owner, Steve Ballmer, Aspiration, that turned out to be a fraud company and stuff about planting trees. Right. They paid Kawhi $28 million or something to plant trees and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. And I don't think we're going to get in trouble for it because there are owners like James Dolan that exist.
Well, yeah.
If you're going to do this to us, if you're going to like kill us for something really, really stupid, for the owner really losing money in a way. And also we have not won a championship. It has not worked out this whole era. If you're going to get us for this, get everybody.
Well, you have to think James Dolan is sweating just looking at Jalen Brunson being like, oh, shit. Like, I absolutely know that I screwed over our team by skirting the salary cap by getting the cheapest version of Jalen Brunson, but the most productive by dollar.
And I say this also as a lifelong New York Mets fan, a team that lost half of their franchise value to Bernie Madoff. And your owners get scammed. If you fell for the text message thread, if you gave your personal information to people that you should not have done that to, that's on you. That's not on the rest of the franchise. That's not on your star players. It's not on Kawhi or the organization. That's on you. You got scammed. Own up to it. The real Clippers conspiracy is our team's letting you guys win right now on this winning streak so that Oklahoma City doesn't get a better draft pick.
No, I think well, there's a conspiracy with that too that Martin presented to me, that Adam Silver said if y'all don't trade Harden and Kawhi and win, at least make the play-in, then I won't punish you for aspiration.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That's a conspiracy theory going around.
You know what?
Because Kawhi is playing, he's playing the best player in the NBA right now.
Oh, is my tinfoil cap's a little cold right now, so I'm excited to put it on.
Guys, fold the laptops. We're done talking about Rep. I want to go down this.
Rich, I'm curious, do you have a idea or a memory or a moment for your franchises?
So this happened before I was born, and I did initially want it to be the horrible trade that took Fernando Tatis Jr. from the White Sox, where we traded him for
pennies.
We traded him for a pitcher, I think Jake Peavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was an absolutely just garbage trade, and looking back at it, but it has to be Disco Demolition Night. Because that is what a gigantic fuck up they made. And there's a lot of history behind it. They're White Sox fans weirdly have some sort of reverence for it because it was a weird ending of hippie culture in Chicago. And I don't know, there was a lot of racial undertones with it too.
Yeah, those records that marked this topic. Yeah. Anybody black, they were burning their records.
Exactly. Yeah.
Al Green, he doesn't.
They would disco, comma, gospel, demolition night. Yeah, it was weird racial undertones. Like we had like a terrible like shock jock DJ who was behind it, and it was all under the guise of like Bill Veck wanting to. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we had like a weird like got a like racist like shock jock DJ who was leading the whole thing, and it was just like such an embarrassing moment. And I'm glad it was only one day in one game.
I just can't imagine grumbling your way through a baseball game, being like, "Man, I hate Let's Stay Together."
Well, Rich, thank you so much for your question of the week. Let's talk a little bit more about Clipped. And we're going to start off with a quick synopsis. The downfall of the Los Angeles Clippers owner, Donald Sterling, and the team's drive to win a championship under coach Doc Rivers, which I think that's leaving out a few details of what we saw in this pilot episode. But Max, I'm curious, how did this show get made?
Today we are talking about the premiere of Clip titled White Party, which originally aired on June 4th, 2024 on FX, and the show's creator and showrunner Gina Welch a bit more. Welch has been a star in the miniseries genre the past decade as a writer and executive producer on series including Under the Banner of Heaven, Feud, The Terror, and serving as a staff writer on Ray Donovan. Before breaking into TV, she was an author, having published In the Land of Believers, An Outsider's Extraordinary Journey into the Heart of the Evangelical Church in 2010. The show is based on the ESPN 30 for 30 podcast The Sterling Affairs from Ramona Shelbourne, detailing the downfall of LA Clippers owner Donald Sterling. The show began development at FX in 2022 with Lawrence Fishburne and Jackie Weaver signing on in their respective roles as Doc Rivers and Shelly Sterling. For his prep as head coach Doc Rivers, actor Lawrence Fishburne was able to spend time with the NBA champion head coach, helping to shape his performance. A+ because Fishburne admitted to not knowing who Rivers was when offered the role. Today's episode and majority of the series was directed by Kevin Bray, best known for helming the features All About the Benjamins and Walking Tall in the early 2000s, and has spent the last 2 decades as an in-demand TV director, though his best work may be helming the 1997 music video for Robin's Show Me Love.
Oh, all right.
Well, let's dive in, gentlemen.
Let's talk
I'm
about
curious for everyone here. This show decides to use social media as what I've called a sensual weapon, in the way that we are like just throwing every form of 2013 social media in your face, flashing it so quickly that you cannot even understand or read in some instances. I thought I became illiterate when watching this show. I'm curious, how do we set the tone of the controversy at the beginning of this episode? And do you think it intrigues you to say, oh, I am seated?
I think they burned Sensual Weapon on Disco Demolition. I want to be the person who had to write all of the 2013 style Twitter memes for the time Clipped. I want to be the person who had to do all of the meme formats, who had to make the whole Twitter feed of digs about this scandal.
We've really come a long way in meme culture.
Yeah, I mean, if this show existed in like peak NBA Twitter times, it would have just been hilarious to be on that writing staff for it. I don't know, like, Carl, was this taking you back to the period piece of 2013?
Yeah. I was still on Twitter back then, having to get all of man. That honestly, around this time, it made me want to leave Twitter because everybody was coming to me. Well, as if I'm the only Clipper fan.
Are you? Do you?
Am I the only one?
Definitely not. Are you the only one? But do you feel like you are in the upper echelon of Clipper fans?
They also like me as such. Than that. Well, they'll like ask Paul Sierra to do everything, and Paul will like invite me to stuff. Okay. And I'm like, if I have a real gripe with how they do treat me, it ain't even like I don't think I deserve anything.
Yeah.
But hey, man, we'll get into it. I know y'all got to talk about the show. That's the podcast. But my history with the Clippers should be heralded. Sure. Honestly. And they aren't with this rebrand they're doing. It's kind of leaving people like me out.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea by Steve Ballmer to be like, we're this fun, like college-like environment team, and like forget the old Clippers for the new Clippers.
Yeah. What's it also like to be a fan of a franchise that's had so many identity shifts in a 10-year period? Because you had this time a couple years before this where it was like the young guns, a lot of the like high school to the pros guys like Darius Miles or one and duds like Elton Brand, and there's like that young core that didn't quite make it. And then you've got the team that gets good with Lob City but is sort of brought down or overshadowed by the Sterling scandal, and then it's like, okay, we brought in Kawhi and we're going to sort of shift to like this other part of LA. We're going to represent like certain parts of LA culture that maybe aren't. And now it's just like boats. We're boats. Fuck it. It's boats.
Yeah, man. It's trying to find an identity in a place that doesn't embrace you. If I like, I'll be honest, I'll never say this in a room full of Laker fans.
Sure.
And to the ones listening to this, you'll get a boner hearing this. I do think the team should go to Orange County or even back to San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I absolutely am for that. I would still be a fan of the team if they did that. It's trying to fit it, like just come up with your own, just be who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I'm glad they kind of did this year. With the Boats is honestly the first time in the history of the franchise. And I'm like, it's its own team.
Yeah.
It's not the other team. It still is the other team, but it's its own team. Like you're a Mets fan, right?
I am.
How do you feel about Mets? Mets have regional supremacy in New York, in that small zone. Yes, there's more Yankee fans there, but the Mets have what, all of Long Island or something?
Yeah,
Queens?
got, like Queens and like parts of deep Brooklyn that kind of go out to Long Island, some of the suburbs. It's like if you had parents who
was Jets too. Yeah. Great job, Carl.
I've got a lot of pain and suffering in my life.
But you're not Nets.
No.
You didn't complete the trifecta.
No. Because that was Jersey. That was Jersey. They threw it up, so that was an entirely separate entity.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you are a fan of this franchise because you probably had family that grew up in outer boroughs who remember this team founding. Like my dad grew up in Sheepshead Bay, and he was a kid. He was like 5 years old when the Mets were founded.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what he did. He went to Mets games, and then so I become a Mets fan because of that. And that's a franchise where
The Metropolitans.
we're the Metropolitans, and our best fandom years are when we find goofy things to embrace. It's not when we're on the cover of Sports Illustrated pretending to be the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
It's when we all rally around Grimace and a Navy veteran named Seymour Wheater that we have our best years. Like that's what being a Mets fan is about. It's like going to Shea Stadium and the floor is sticky and everything smells like Knish, and like you're going just to see like some good like old school baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, that's the same thing. Whenever the Clippers, it feels like at the beginning of seasons, everybody on ESPN will say, Clippers are going to win 82 games each year.
So you're like loser, you're stomping around. I got it. I got this shit.
Like it's the worst. It's the worst feeling being because we don't have any regional supremacy.
Yeah.
Because when we first got here, we had the shittiest arena. Mm-hmm. Nobody came to the game. Mm-hmm. That's when my first Clipper game was 1999, and it was against like the Timberwolves, who had KG, but there was no fandom
Right.
Yeah. in LA. So those were the games that we would get to go to for free. That's what made me a fan.
Okay. Yeah.
They would come to a Boys and Girls Club or Big Brothers program or whatever and give free tickets out. And so the arena would be just like the season ticket holders at the bottom, very empty middle, and then kids at the top. And then at certain points, all the workers would be like, man, y'all can go down. Go down. Like, we don't care.
Wait, that's a fun environment, though. I would love to go to a game that was like 90% kids. That would be super fun.
Yeah, like
everyone would be screaming their heads off.
It would be on Sundays. It would be all kids. And then they would let us go to, or sometimes if we went to like weekday games and it wasn't like all kids, but we maybe won some tickets, or they gave them out so much. We would go all the time. Like my mom would like, let me take a friend. She'd drop me off. I was like 10 years old.
Sure.
And 10, 11 years old, Darius Miles, Elton Brand, Quinn Richardson, Corey Maggette, Keon Dooling.
Oh, nice.
Like Chris Wilcox, these teams, Michael Olowokandi in the middle. And then they'd also do community outreach stuff. Well, we would like go, when they moved to Staples, before LA Live, that was just a parking lot. And they would set up basketball courts. And so when they started doing Parks and Rec stuff and we all became junior Clippers, we would get to come to the arena, play at halftime. I used to play at halftime of the games. They would like, the players would like, what's up, little man? You know, that wasn't a Laker thing.
No.
Shaq was my favorite player.
Yeah.
But I didn't meet Shaq. There was no way to meet Shaq.
No, you met Chris Wilcox. And I was very grateful for him on my fantasy basketball team.
Yeah.
You know, like he was killing it.
Yeah, you met the Candyman. You met Chris Kaman. You met these guys would come around the high schools and stuff. And of course they would get dissed by high school kids. Man, fuck the Clippers, man. Yeah. You know, but like I just remain loyal.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to stay loyal to this because I like this environment better. I feel like I'm an insider here. It feels like something different. But even then, even to say that, during the my middle school and high school years. So between 2000 and 2007, I was a Clipper fan, but I was a LeBron guy.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Once LeBron came along, he gave me something to root for in the playoffs. The Clippers were not doing that. And then in like 05, we got kind of good with like Cuttino Mobley and Chauncey Billups and Sean Livingston.
Yeah.
I was watching the game on my fat booty TV. It was Sean Livingston fucking ripped his leg.
Yeah, that was the most wild moment because that was the first time where I was like, oh, these guys are not invincible, and that guy.
Yeah.
God bless Sean Livingston because he had a career after this. I'm curious because you have so much reverence for those early days. I feel like we have multiple protagonists in this pilot, right? Yeah. We have multiple people that we're trying to follow and be like, this is the main character. This is the main character. I want you to take us back to when you heard Doc Rivers was leaving the Boston Celtics to come to the Clippers.
Yeah.
And not only think about that time, but also how you think Lawrence Fishburne did as Doc Rivers.
You know, the performances in this episode, the way people talked about it online is kind of another symptom of Clipperness.
Yeah.
Because it actually wasn't that bad. And I'm going to watch my words because some of these people may be in my orbit.
Sure.
If I have to criticize anyone, it may be the guy that played DJ.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, I like lizards, man.
That was wild. To have a babyface guy playing DJ, but also that, like, I would almost leave that being like, what did I do? Like, who did I piss off in the building?
I thought Lawrence Fishburne was great. He's a great actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, Doc's voice. I sound more like Doc right now because I'm. Okay, guys, come on, guys, we got to do this. Right. The defense is the main thing that we need to be focused on. So he's always like grunting like that. But Lawrence Fishburne's an actor. The Beijing on the head. Do y'all know what Beijing is?
Yeah, absolutely. What was it?
Okay, so Beijing is something that mostly black men use. It's like hair fibers.
Yeah,
to make your hair look fuller.
Have you ever seen Marcus Freeman and you're wondering why he has some hair, but then his skull is black? Then yes,
Right. Got it.
Sometimes it's just time to go home.
It's time to cut it all off. But sometimes a little enhancement make it look. I put a little snippet to it when I went to the Emmys this year. I was like, okay. Couldn't wear a hat, and I was like, let me get a little hand, just a little bit. But I think the Blake guy didn't necessarily look like Blake. He was a good actor
For sure.
Chris Paul, the guy that plays Chris Paul, I see him in a lot of stuff. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne was great. The Shelly Sterling lady was great. I didn't mind the performances that much. It was just people making fun of the Clippers, I think.
Yeah.
Max, I'm curious for you because in my notes I feel like if I was seeing someone depicting me in real life, the same time that Winning Time is going on, and they took such great efforts to make the cast look as close as they possibly could without doing plastic surgery. Would you have a little bit of body dysmorphia seeing yourself depicted by like someone who doesn't really look like you?
I mean, that's the thing. Is like you see JJ Redick, DJ, and Blake Griffin standing in a line, and they're all the same height. And there's nothing you could do about it.
Just like in real life.
And positionless basketball, I'm telling you.
The guy who played JJ Redick was so thin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, JJ Redick, give him a little.
That doesn't lift the mass behind him. He works out religiously.
And the guy who
They made a theater kid, JJ Redick.
The guy who plays Matt Barnes is this dude, Serena Jackson from Insecure, and he's legit 6'8".
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But he's the only one that has
towering.
He's not on everybody.
I was going to say, the guy who plays Matt Barnes, because the makeup team did a great job with the tattoos. They've got the Matt Barnes aid down really well. Blake Griffin's about as broad shoulders as I am in this. But those things, it's easy to pile on them, but it's hard. It's really hard to cast a contemporary sports drama where these people are built like gods now. Like they are so broad.
And yet, same year, Winning Time did it successful. Which just made it more frustrating that even in the TV depictions where they are going to go through a horrible scandal in the Clippers sphere, you're still going to not do as well of a job casting as they do.
But FX is different than HBO.
That's true.
Also,
really different budget.
I'm gonna go in and say, the guy who plays Magic in Winning Time looks 5'11".
This episode of TV Pilot's License is brought to you by Henchmen. Has this ever happened to you?
You're just toiling away in your secret evil lair, and here comes some super spy trying to stop your plans. Well, what if you had an incalculable amount of goons that you could throw at them? Sounds pretty nice, right? Well, with henchmen, you get hundreds, if not thousands, of faceless human shields ready to die for almost nothing. Don't worry, they don't have families. Henchmen, available at all Target retail outlets.
Well, it was awesome getting to speak with Carl, y'all. I don't know about you, but I had such a fun time. And audience, you might notice, we're not all in LA anymore, but we still wanted to make sure that we could finish up our conversation about Clipped. And we talked a lot about the Doc Rivers of it all, the portrayal of some of these basketball playing cast members. But I wanted to bring it back to some of our non-basketball playing cast members, V. Stiviano, as well as Donald and Shelly Sterling. And Max, I want to go to you really quickly. Like, what did you think of not only these portrayals by Jackie Weaver as well as Ed O'Neill as the Sterlings, but of just the non-basketball of this pilot?
I mean, Ed O'Neill's basically saying half the shit he said as Al Bundy did 30 years ago. I think that Ed O'Neill knocks this out of the park as far as portraying a real-life villain goes. He is a despicable character. Ed O'Neill does not try to mince it or sugarcoat it. He plays this person as a villain. Ed O'Neill is just a physically large person, and he uses his stature. He uses the way he lays hands on people or talks to people in ways that really disgust you. And there's no part of you as an audience. It's like, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna walk out of this, with a new perspective on Donald Sterling. No. We're not gonna wax poetic about this person.
Well, I thought that was an interesting part of the choices that Ed O'Neill made too, because compared to a lot of other nonfiction shows, it's a nonfiction portrayal, but the reason that we have this show at all is because of recording after recording after recording after recording done by V. Stiviano, and when you have an actor that has to essentially work off of those actual recordings, it's what is it, first hand reference, or what it is?
Sure,
yeah. You don't often get that, and there is no sugarcoating this. There is no trying to put a bow on it or trying to even paint it worse than it was, because you have the recordings. Everybody has those.
I think it is even more impressive that we have these recordings and then we're turning them into life, right? Because it's not like they're video recordings in this instance, right? Where you're like, oh yeah, you're going to go downstage and then you're going to pause and then you're going to look back at the character. Ed O'Neill really makes these videotapes that we've all heard come to life, and in a bone-chilling manner where you're like, oh, I know Ed O'Neill seems like a wonderful human being, from everything that I've read about him. But after watching this, I'm like, do I not want to hang out with Ed O'Neill? Is he actually Donald Sterling?
Well, I think that just speaks to how well that, and we can go on and on about the casting and how funny it was when we all first saw the guy who plays Blake Griffin for the first time, and they're like, oh, in whose reality is Blake Griffin? Does Blake Griffin look like this? But also because they elicit such a heavy response from you, Jackie Weaver, Ed O'Neill, the actress who played V. Stiviano is escaping.
Cleopatra Coleman is her name.
All of these performances are an archetype of a real person, and stuff that we have seen from those actual people, and if we're talking about acting entirely, they are getting a huge rise out of me. I think these people are despicable. Not V. I think is
justice for V.
Yeah, justice for V.
Justice for V.
Honestly, I think more people should steal money from older white men, and she did a great job of it.
Yeah, Cleopatra Coleman knocks his performance out of the park to the point where you are questioning yourself, is V. Stiviano an anti-hero? Yeah. She oversteps boundaries. She is manipulative in her own right. She goes to any lengths necessary to achieve what she wants. But she's also this character who, in many ways, is in a different show than everyone else. She has these moments of voiceover about the new American dream and what we achieve, what we hope to achieve through social media. She is using this cutting behavior to try to level up in this world in a way that we don't know a ton about just yet, but she is intriguing and captivating so that you want to know more. And so, yeah, she creates this almost folk hero sensation in a way. And if you know what she's going to become by the time this series ends, I think this is setting you up down a track to be like, okay, how are we going to get there?
What do we all think about Jackie Weaver?
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to bring that up because our first introduction to Jackie by herself, right? You almost feel like, oh, like I feel for Shelly Sterling. I feel for Shelly Sterling in this moment in time. But as soon as Shelly Sterling is surrounded by
what's your mouth?
as soon as Shelly Sterling is surrounded by the people that she calls friends, I say, uh-oh, spaghetti-o. That is not a great human being.
Yeah, I had written in my notes that they're the Sex and the City girls who also love eugenics.
Yeah, like it is one of those things where I think that for a lot of the characters that we encounter in this pilot, they do a very good job of showing them as the human being, right? But also showing them as terrible at the same time, which is very, like, humans are flawed. And I think that that is what makes this a great, like, miniseries of showing the flaws of a lot of the people that were involved in this, not on the basketball side of things, but having such a large impact on the basketball side of things.
We get almost no basketball action the entire time.
How are you going to show a 5'8" man dunking? I ask you.
Trampolines.
I love that you immediately went trampolines and not smaller hoop.
I mean, question for the two of you, right? Our pilot does end with a lot of controversy. This crescendoing of tension between Shelly Sterling and V. Stiviano leads to a presentation of legal documents, and V finds out she's being sued for $2.5 million. What do you think of that as being an ending point of this pilot episode of TV?
I think it's just a big, it's just like such a beautiful bow of like, okay, here's how the rich can constantly manipulate the poor by threatening them with amounts of money that they're okay losing, but would destroy the other person entirely. It is such a good foil for the end of this that really made me want to watch more.
It makes it clear who actually holds the cards, who actually has the power. You spend so much of this episode thinking, or at least being, led to believe that, oh, V actually has this power. She has this power over Donald. She has this influence. She has this access. But really, she has nothing. And it's all Shelly who's pulling the strings, who has the cards, and at any moment, if she really wanted to, could crush V. And you also know, as an audience member, that V has something in her back pocket that could be used to absolutely counter everything that Shelly is throwing at her.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of Shelly Sterling's job in this is kind of to be like the owner of a dog at a dog park. And you're like, okay, I'm going to let them have as much fun as they want. And then when it becomes a little bit too much, Jeff, you know this, you got some big old dogs at home. As soon as they get a little bit too much roughhousing in, all right, you're coming back. You're getting out of this dog park right now. And that is really, she does hold the leash on that.
Well, that is the end of this pilot, but I do want to talk about things that you love, maybe things that we didn't get to give enough shine to that you'd like to bring up for just a little bit.
Oh,
Max?
Easy. Lavar Burton as Lavar Burton.
The Oracle of the Sauna. Sweating Rainbow.
So this scene of Doc Rivers and LeVar Burton in the steam room together, fever dream or reality, who's to say? We'll let you be the judge. Watch today's pilot. It is such a fascinating scene because it has nothing to do with the rest of the episode, but it also has everything to do with Clipped and Doc's character. It is two men sitting down, having a conversation about race and society and place in the world and what the world throws at them. And it tells you so much about who Doc is, and it rounds him as a character instead of just Lawrence Fishburne doing an impression of a person. Like, it really makes Doc a whole lot more three-dimensional.
Yeah.
And it rests all the basketball. It rests all of, like, the gross Sterling stuff for a bit. And it's just about life. And it's a fascinating scene. It's a really bold choice to have that be as long of a scene as it is in the middle of like a pilot about a basketball scandal. But I love it. I thought it was a great scene, and I thought both of them knocked it out of the park.
Well, I think
go
too
ahead,
that
Rich.
like there is a huge metaphorical element of, and I don't know how real it was that LeVar Burton lived in the same building as Doc Rivers. It's insane that he's the only person playing himself except for those couple of reporters. But like, I want to believe that they did live together. But it is kind of like a huge metaphor that the person who became ultimately extremely famous by playing an escaped slave is like, oh, we're talking about the same shit. We're talking about the same embarrassing behavior from powerful white men in 2014. This is, I think that is like the big connection there. Sorry, Jeff, I interrupted.
No, my thing was going to be dumb that I hope he sings Reading Rainbow at the at least in one of the episodes of the show. That is all I hope for.
Tune in the clip to find out more.
Tune in to episode 2 to be disappointed that he does not sing that. I don't know, but maybe you will find out. Rich, what about you? Things that you loved about this?
Okay, so look, I know that this is an extremely embarrassing moment in sports history and culture. I know that this is painful to watch this happen. It is ultimately a compelling news story. And I know we touched on it a little bit ago, but the ability to get lost in the in the main characters and really feel that they are who they are portraying just speaks volumes about the acting talent. It speaks volumes about the writing talent. It is an arguably good show with good performances, and we can't we could spend all day talking about the casting, but we don't have to spend all day we don't have to disregard the fact that we are watching really exceptional actors work.
Yeah, I watched another sports drama miniseries last year from this same network that I do not think was as well-rounded in its portrayals and did not want to dive into quite as many larger societal themes. And
Are you talking about the movie Brian's Song?
Yep, it's Brian's Song. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's about
exactly
Brian Piccolo and Walter Payton. But the fact that
Gil
this
Sayers.
that this show is willing to go there and not just be about basketball is a testament to having a writer and a showrunner who comes from a background of true crime and investigative journalism and her work in nonfiction. And I do feel like a lot of that read in this episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, as we said at the beginning, or right while we've been recording this, they had the tapes to work off of, if that makes sense, right? But everything else, filling in those, the everything between those tapes being recorded, that takes good writing. That takes writing that a lot of the folks that are in this show, I would not say are household names. There are people who are household names, but some of the people that are expected to do big lifting accomplish it and accomplish some really good writing. So that takes good direction to do as well. And I think that this show is really well directed in this first
The only
episode.
household name is Hito Turkoglu.
Yep, that is it. Only one.
If I had $1 for every time I was sitting down at the dinner table with my mom and she brings up Turkish basketball legend Hito Turkoglu, I'd be a rich man.
Understanding what's going through the mind of a late career Antoine Jameson. What is in the day in life of Danny Granger? I mean, these are the questions that we leave clipped asking.
So let's talk about wait a minute moments, things that cause you pause. I'm going to go really, really quickly. There was way too much of Ed O'Neill's foot in this pilot. Having to see Rich squirm when Ed O'Neill's foot got, stabbed by a needle was really a highlight for me. But
Pretty
then I had
awful.
to look back at Ed O'Neill's foot and say like, oh God, that's a war crime.
Wait, hold on. I got it. Al Bunyan.
His toes point in every direction like a windsock. It is truly upsetting.
And we come on the pod, but Jesus Christ, wear socks. Rich, what about yourself?
Okay, so there's many things. The foot rub scene, obviously, the extremely small amount of basketball being portrayed in this, but when he is talking about Rihanna and he is talking about why she got her nipples pierced.
Oh God!
And why do girls do that? Don't they lose all the incredible sensation coming out of Ed O'Neill's / Donald Sterling's mouth? Is maybe one of the most upsetting things I've ever heard from a person. Don't ever talk about that ever again. You're not allowed.
Max, what about you?
I'm going to see your visceral reaction, Jeff, and I'm going to raise you. This is some of the worst portrayals of food I've ever seen on screen. Levels of disgust I haven't felt since I saw The Substance, and it's everything. It's Donald Sterling picking at Doc Rivers' sandwich. It's Donald Sterling shoveling food into his face courtside. It's the way that JJ Redick's dinner slides off of the plate and like decomposes in the restaurant. It's even the way that V. Stiviano takes the most sloppy cocktail shrimp I've ever seen and slaps it onto a white statue at the Sterling's white party. This food is used as a weapon in this. It uses a weapon against me to make me feel as uncomfortable as possible, and I hated it.
Max, is that why when I bought a shrimp cocktail for all of us afterwards, you didn't go eat it?
I threw
up. Damn it. What a waste of money.
Gentlemen, we have one more question, our in-flight question. Our in-flight question this week comes from John in Ohio, and John asks, if you had to make an FX miniseries about any sports event, traumatic or just funny, what would it be? So I'm asking you, put on your producing caps, and tell me what do you want to see greenlit? Max?
Ooh, I'm going to say U.S. Olympic curling gold medal team from, I think it was 2018. I want to see an underdog story about some boys with brooms from the Great Lakes region who went to South Korea and showed all those Swedes and Norwegians who the real curling champs of the world are based on nothing but funny pants and ice cold beer.
Rich?
Mine's also beer related, and thankfully FX actually did a little bit of this with the infamous Always Sunny episode of Wade Boggs drinking 72 beers on a cross country flight and then going 3 for 4 in Seattle. I would love nothing more than to see an actual dramatic portrayal of that. I would love to know.
Who plays Wade? I'm asking, I know you didn't prepare this, but I'm curious. Who do you think could give it justice?
It's not David Harbour anymore. Who should be doing this? I honestly don't know. Put in the comments what your dream casting is for Wade
I mean,
Boggs.
he's not age appropriate, but give me a one-man play where this is Michael Shannon.
That... Yes, I'm in.
There's a darkness to Boggsy.
move over, O'Mary.
For myself, I'm gonna do the NFL 2012 referee lockout that resulted in the fail Mary. Yes. Do you guys remember when the NFL and the referees couldn't come to an agreement on terms, and then there were a bunch of basically like high school refs refereeing an NFL game that resulted in the wrong team winning the football game? Yes,
oh my God.
I do. And literally within 24 hours, the lockout ended. So yes, I think the backgrounds, who plays Roger Goodell, why is it Will Ferrell? I don't know. But I cannot wait to see it live on my FX or Disney Plus or Hulu, wherever Disney wants to put that stuff. I will consume all of it. Well, John, thank you so much for that in-flight question. Let's quickly talk about the history of the show. This show was a miniseries, so it only had 1 season and 6 episodes. Very conveniently, the show debuted during the middle of the NBA Finals when there was peak interest for this stuff, and then ended right before the 2024 free agency season, so that the Clippers were on everyone's mind while they were picking out where they should go for their next basketball season. But the show's real viewership spiked in December, interestingly enough. A lot of that has to do with streaming, but also a lot of this has to do with the international markets. this show was super popular in places like Israel, Canada, and like multiple countries throughout Europe as well. If you listen to this pilot and you're like, I want to see Ed O'Neill's foot or some good acting performances, you can definitely check it out on Disney Plus or Hulu. Let's talk about awards. This show was nominated for 5 different awards, including a Peabody Award, and Lawrence Fishburne actually received multiple nominations for Best Performance, which, yeah, that was definitely the correct choice. I think Ed O'Neill probably could have received one as well, or maybe a couple. Given that this show did have weird timing, that might have come up in conflict of that. But that is the history of the show. Rich, It's time for your game of the week.
Well, what else can you do besides a little bit of more fun Clippers trivia? This is arguably one of the darkest, if not the darkest moment in Clippers history. Probably is. I really hope it is. I want to know if a couple fun facts here about the Clippers. Before becoming the LA Clippers, they were, of course, the Buffalo Braves and the San Diego Clippers before Donald Sterling made the controversial move of sending them to LA. How many NBA/ABA franchises have called San Diego home? Is it A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, or D, 5?
Max?
I'm gonna say B, 3.
3 sounds right.
It is 3. The San Diego Rockets, who obviously became the Houston Rockets, the San Diego Clippers, obviously the LA Clippers, and the Conquistadors, informally known as the Qs, which is honestly the sickest nickname for a team. Which of these Hall of Famers did not have a stint with the Clippers or the Braves? Is it A, Chauncey Billups, B, Moses Malone, C, Walt Frazier, D, Dominique Wilkins?
I'm gonna say Dominique Wilkins.
And I'll say Moses Malone.
It is C, Walt Frazier. Moses Malone did have a very, very, like a famously small time with the Clippers before being traded. He played 6 total minutes with them.
Wait, what?
That, you know what?
That's right. Hall of Fame NBA player Walt Frazier played 6 total minutes for the Buffalo Braves.
Ridiculous. Well, Rich, thank you so much for your game of the week. Gentlemen, our flight is getting ready to come to a land, but before we go, I have 2 questions for you. And the first is, based off of the pilot and the pilot alone, are you going to be watching more of Clipped? And, you know, maybe you're watching it for the second time, because I know, Max, I believe you watched all of this show already once. And then the second is, we talked a lot about the idea of there are so many different stories within sports that can be turned into these miniseries. Do you want to see more of them, or do you want to see something different about sports? Maybe more documentaries. So, Rich, I'm going to start with you.
I am watching more of this series. It is, and full disclosure, I have watched the entire thing. It's kind of like a car accident that you can't look away from, but it is also, I think that's the performance of it. I think the performances of this are so, I mean, like you said, Max, about the food, like there is kind of like a gross element to this, like similar to The Substance. And that is just like a can't look away ASMR / body horror type thing. When it comes to sports series, yeah. Hell yeah, I'm watching more of them. I don't think in any of our lifetimes will we start seeing the human disinterest in sports. I think it is the bread and circuses that keep us distracted from everything else in this world. It is our little telenovela that we get to watch every single day.
Max?
Yeah, this is something that actually I would continue to watch. It's not perfect. I don't love having to use things like Twitter feeds and cell phones so much to do like storytelling, I guess, devices there, but it's necessary for how this story played out in real time and in real life. But the performances of its main ensemble are very strong, and yeah, it keeps me wanting to go back for more. As for your second question, look, if you put this on TV, I'm gonna watch it. But what I find myself drawn to more are these real all-access docu-series and like unscripted looks at athlete life. I loved Court of Gold, following various Olympic basketball teams last year. I love Starting Five on Netflix. Anything like that really gives you that all-access look throughout an entire year in someone's life, I find fascinating. And so look, if it's sports on TV, I'm probably gonna watch it.
Yeah, and for myself, I think that this is a fantastic fireball of a pilot. And what I mean by that is it's horrifying when it's happening in front of you, but you can't look away, and you should definitely watch more of it based off of the pilot and the pilot alone. And then for the second, yes, sports miniseries, I think that if they're well done, they're some of my favorite things to watch out there, right? Like, you give me a dramatic interpretation of sports history, ooh, baby, am I fully sat for it. But also more documentary type stuff, like 30 for 30, when that came out 16 years ago, which hurts to say out loud. Like when the U came out, I was like, this is something different, and this is something we need more of. So, like, if you have a really cool idea for a sports documentary that you want to make, put it out there, because I am sure as shit going to watch all of it. Well, gentlemen, that is our flight. But before we go, I want to once again thank Carl Tart for coming on. If you want to follow Carl, you can find him on Instagram at dammit_Carl. But if you also want to see Carl and you're in the LA area, he is going to be at the Dynasty Typewriter on January 9th.
And it's exciting to say, watch the second half season of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to see his jokes in action, watch Saturday Night Live, which is
you're welcome,
truly,
Lauren.
Yeah, exactly. Lauren, come on the pod. Lauren, come on. But gentlemen, in case folks want to find you in addition to Carl, Rich, where can folks find you?
You can find me searching for Lavar Burton in my sauna, and you could also find me on Instagram at Damn That's Rich. You can find original sketch comedy for Max and myself over at TikTok, and you can see my sketch team paperback at the Pack Theater, 7 p.m. on January 10th.
Max?
You can catch me trying to figure out which one's Chris Paul and which one's Cliff Paul, and on all things social media at Maxwell Singh.
And you can find me digging into that Havarti on the deli platter at the Clippers headquarters. But if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at Run Jeff Run. You can find the TV Pilot's License anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also see our smiling faces on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you would like, go onto Spotify. We're actually having a campaign right now to release a secret episode if we reach 250 subscribers. And while you're there, leave a comment and a 5-star rating. But if you have a question for the show, maybe a in-flight question, you can submit those at tvpilotslicense.com. You can give us a call or leave us a text message at 213-290-1713. And make sure to watch out for some of the stuff that we have coming up. But with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you again soon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your fingers on the dial.
You are a double Virgo.